Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 9 of The Stable. Number 9. Nine time.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't.
Welcome to episode number 9 of The Stable. We are really excited that you are here watching us, listening to us.
All 8 of you.
That's right.
We love
all 8 of you.
Each and every one of you.
We were joking around about our friend Lance. If he jumps on and watches, that'll be 9.
Right? And it's episode 9.
And
so
it is episode 9.
Happen.
So as long as we keep doing an episode at a time with a new viewer at a time, eventually we'll have double digits.
Wow.
Of both.
Those 12 that watch the established facts are like, they're talking about what now?
What is wrestling?
Oh.
Anyway. Wrestling.
We need to stop having any other lives and only have wrestling lives.
That's right.
And then we might get up into, near 20, in months. So we'll see what happens.
Right, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and get into our introductions. As you can see, we got our normal crew here at the table, on the mics, and behind the title belts, as you can see.
Shields.
That's right. That's right. We'll go ahead and start to my left. Ladies first.
My name is Dr. Deb, as my shirt tells you. So I'm here for you.
And hi, this is Josh. I'm the one attempting to control the cameras, so the back and forth will be fun tonight.
And, of course, I am your host, Big Don. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us again. We are going to talk some pretty exclusively. We might dabble a little bit in other areas, but I think we're going to probably stay, if I had to guess, 70% on topic, talking about AEW
That's about what we usually
Revolution.
do.
That's kind of what I figured. I don't want to promise anything more than 3/4 of the time.
Okay, as we keep adding permission and whatnot, sure, we'll just add more percentages to it.
Right, absolutely. Well, and I figure, Tony Khan being one of our viewers, he would be.
We definitely need at least a decent focus there because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
oh boy.
All right, so Joshy, you are kind of our. You are the one who has the technology in front of you that has the card that we can discuss. Now, we did all hang out and watch the pay-per-view together, which was great.
We did.
I missed 1 or 2 matches because I had kiddos that had to go home and go to bed, and then I ended up, ironically and honestly, not purposefully, forgetting my medicine here. If it was purposely, it was subconscious. Because I got home.
You're a wrestling fan. Decided to leave them here.
Yeah, I got home and I went, oh, I forgot my medicine. So I had to run back over to Joshy's. And oh, darn, there just happened to be a wrestling match on. And
second to the last, right?
It
was right before
It was right before the main event, which we will get into. Joshy, take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of breeze through AEW's buy-in real quick, and then we'll just kind of talk about the buy-in before we get into the main show. So the buy-in is their pre-show, but they actually have wrestling matches on it that usually mean something. So the first match on the card was Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch, which did end with Layla Hirsch winning with some shenanigans, but she did end up winning nonetheless. And it was a fun match from start to finish, but kind of a short one, but it did kind of end a feud that had been going on for Dynamite and Rampage for the last few weeks. After that, Tony Schiavone was out in the ring thinking he was going to interview Kenny Omega, which instead he interviewed Don Callis, which he's so much fun. He's the most annoying slime ball, but I love everything about him.
But is he as good a slime ball as the voice of Roman Reigns and the voice of Brock Lesnar?
See, I have
Mr. Paul Heyman.
I have a third contender for that, but we'll get into it when we talk about the pre-show.
Okay. Fair enough. I just throwing it out there.
So, following that up was the cold-hearted, handsome devil Hook versus QT Marshall, as everyone keeps calling him. It's definitely Marshall. But
Marshall.
Anyways,
Marshall.
And Hook did end up getting the win with the Red Rum, formerly known as the Taz Mission. For those who don't know, Hook is the great announcer Taz's son. And then finally, the buy-in main event, as it would be the Death Triangle of Pac and Penta Oscura with Eric Redbeard, formerly Eric Rowan, taking on the House of Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black. And that match was absolutely insane.
Yes. For that match alone, the other two matches were awesome, but that match alone was worth the buy-in.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, in entirety.
And watching Brody King just kind of like hoist up Eric Redbeard.
Yeah.
When they did like the 3-man takedown to get the win was pretty impressive. So
Yeah.
overall, the buy-in also is used to give all the different video packages and everything associated with it to get you like totally bought in for the show. And they usually offer the buy-in free on like YouTube. So like, hey, don't forget, come and buy it on Bleacher Report or on your local cable station or anything associated with it. So even if you didn't see the pay-per-view, go find the buy-in on the AEW YouTube page and just watch those matches. But you're going to see as we talk through this, you may want to go and buy the replay as well. So with that said, we're going to get into the main card now.
They started off so slowly. AEW loves to start their pay-per-views off slow and boring.
Slow like the Indy 500.
Right, exactly. Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, you're behind a pace car.
Yeah,
you're still doing 100 miles an hour.
Correct. And then you come screaming down to the green flag.
It's not slow.
No.
By any means.
No, not even a little bit.
Not even sort of. But at least we did start off strong. So the first match of the night was Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston. And these two guys beat the bejesus
You
out
open
of
with
each
Eddie
other.
Kingston, you're going to have a street fight. That's what this is going to look like.
And I feel like this match could have been subtitled as the poke you in the eye match. Because I'm pretty confident they poked each other in the eye about 15 times.
Oh, my heavens.
Well, and I didn't see the exact figure. I don't remember it from the Pro Wrestling Sheets, but it was something like 31 chops.
30 chops, 31 chops, something. Yeah.
Ow.
They
Jericho
chopped.
looked
Well, it
lit
doesn't help
up.
that one of Eddie's moves is the machine gun chops. Like, where he just, wow, waylays you with, but they, oh my gosh.
It looked painful.
They were so blown up. Their chests were so red. It was ridiculous.
But even as red and beat up as they were, the whole story going into this was about Eddie Kingston not being able to win the big one. And he did. He not only did he beat Chris Jericho, he beat him with a submission mover, which is something that doesn't happen to Jericho hardly ever. True. And Jericho then, who had promised he would shake his hand, did not shake his hand. And that
Subtle
story,
heel turn.
That story continues on to Dynamite this week, which we may talk about after the rest of the review.
Can I just say, I love the in AEW. I feel like they do so much more of these subtle, like they hint. Okay, it's not going to be a full out, and yet you feel the process of a heel turn, and in the process, you also feel that Eddie's the face, and yet if you look at it, Eddie doesn't play a pure face. Let's be honest. I mean, he's a New Yorker who's pissed off at the world, but I love how they will do it more gently or subtly than some other promotions do. So they kind of give you the time to be like, oh, he's going to go that way. We don't just fall off the cliff. They give us a little time to let it kind of sit and cook a little.
Well, and I think a big reason for that, especially when we're talking about Eddie Kingston, is the fact that Eddie doesn't realize that kayfabe exists.
Correct. No, that man he's never met it.
He has never subscribed to the F word in the sense of
fake.
Fake.
The F word is fake.
It's fake.
F-A-K-E.
Yeah.
Kids.
No,
no.
It's, as Simon Miller would like to say, he's worried that Eddie thinks that all of this is real. And I think he is.
I think he is legitimately. I think it's a legit worry.
He's a confused man.
All these cameras are just in real life, and his whole life involves beating people up in a ring that has ropes, and that's just the way his life is. So
Fact.
Eddie Kingston, it's still real to me.
Oh man.
Okay. That may have to be. I know you always keep track of them, Don, but that might need to be an established fact. That might need to cross over to the established facts.
Yep, there you go. That's right.
All right, so scrolling through, let's see what's next. Next is the triple threat AEW tag team title match involving our champions, the Jurassic Express of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, versus Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, versus the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. And I'm looking at AEW's results list here, and it says with Associate Stooge Brandon Cutler.
It says that on there. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite
I love
thing.
it.
Yeah. I miss
Brilliant.
him in the ring
Brilliant.
so much. I love Brandon Cutler.
He's got to come back.
He's so much fun.
He's got to come back, but he's great as a stooge. But
yeah, he's playing his stooge role really
yes,
well.
yes.
Again, I apologize for the quick switches. I'm trying to work this out. So, I'll tell you what. Yeah, this match ended with the Jurassic Express picking up the win, and I will admit that I was a little surprised by it.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad about it whatsoever.
It was a ridiculous match, but with those 3 tag teams, did you really think it would be anything else? But I was amazed with Luchasaurus's how fast he is. And I know that because I've watched him in a ton of matches. But there are times I'm watching like, you are a big man to be moving that fast. And there were multiple times, especially near the end of the match, when you could tell they were wrapping up. I was just amazed at his skill set, moving so fast, so well. Like it just kind of struck me in awe again. So I was just having a moment like, I love Luchasaurus. I'm so glad that he's with AEW. I just love Luchasaurus. I just do. He's my favorite dinosaur. Definitely my fave.
I mean, it's a fair thing to say.
Yeah.
I am of the opinion that Nick Jackson and Luchasaurus have the best hot tags in the business.
Oh,
and
yeah.
both of them
Oh, yeah.
were in
Yeah.
this match.
Yes.
And it was just crazy to see.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of effort that you see all these guys put into doing double team moves and some triple team moves
Yes.
and high flying moves, it really is incredibly impressive. And
The stacking of people and the I don't know. Do they just sit around and think of these things?
Yes.
I mean, literally, is that what?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I don't
they
know
do.
if you know this or not, but they get paid to be professional wrestlers.
Is that how they're making their
That's
money?
what
Okay,
they do.
thank
is
goodness. That explains
they,
a lot.
They go,
because
hey, we're building up to this triple threat tag team match. Come up with some real crazy stuff.
we need to do something with triple team tag team match. Oh, who knew?
Right. And then they sit there with graph paper and they try and put all
Figure
the
out
geometry
how.
together. And I have to say that I've seen Matt and Nick Jackson. I've seen Jurassic Express. But I was really pleasantly surprised to finally get a chance to see Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish wrestle as a tag team.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, that was good.
even though they wrestled in Undisputed Era for NXT, I was telling Josh that I kind of got into the Adam Cole Undisputed Era fan club, like hardcore, but late. And so a lot of their big marquee matches that they had early on in their stable career, I didn't get a chance to see. And so it was really nice to be able to see those guys go at it as a real tag team. They look great. And their style, what I think is so awesome is their style is so different than like Nick and Matt Jackson. Like they remind me a little bit more of like FTR, like a little bit more gritty, hard style of wrestling,
They
and
don't
a
actually do
little
strong
stiffer.
style, right? I'm a little closer to strong style. I mean, it's not pure, but
I mean, they're a little stiff.
Yeah.
They wrestle stiff, which
Okay.
if you want to classify that as strong style, I think there's a little bit of a difference between strong style and working stiff.
Right.
But I think that they kind of go hand in hand with one another. So
gotcha.
I think, generally speaking, the AEW wrestlers work
yeah,
stiff.
they work
Okay.
more stiff. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Is that to make it look
Watch
more
it.
realistic?
I mean, probably.
And so that when someone, you're gonna feel it a little more when you're going stiff. So to get a better,
Yeah.
more, you like this more natural? What is it? More organic response. Is that the proper?
Watching
Is it fancy?
Bryan Danielson do his kicks now, I mean, he is just. Again, we'll talk about Dynamite a little bit maybe at the end of this, but he just is murdering people with those kicks now.
Well, and he shows that off in this pay-per-view.
Thing
That's
to
true.
behold.
That is true.
But moving in, so the next match is the Face of the Revolution ladder match with the competitors Christian Cage, Limitless Keith Lee, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, the FTW champion Absolute Ricky Starks, and Wardlow. And Wardlow gets the win. Wardlow is only one small part of how absolutely insane this match was.
And he's not small.
Oh, not even
Not at all.
close. Not even
But
close.
He looked small.
Which is
I'm not going to lie.
which is incredible.
He looked small next to Powerhouse Hobbs and
Yeah.
Keith Lee.
Yeah. yeah. That's so
Wardlow is a
funny.
big dude.
Well, and that was the
funny.
thing is you put all of them in
Yeah.
this particular match together, and you can't help but get that moment. And boy, did we get that moment where you saw the three of them together. And Keith Lee, yeah, he's a little bit heavy right now, but he is clearly the bigger even of the three of them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yet Wardlow also manages to shove both of them off the stage.
Right.
But I tell you, so I'm surprised at how many really cool moments happened in this, but the primary one that I will forever remember was Orange Cassidy was doing the whole ladder spin thing.
Helicopter.
A helicopter thing. He hit everybody except Keith Lee and Wardlow.
Who caught the ladder.
And then proceeded to pick up the ladder simultaneously while Orange Cassidy was holding on to it.
Yeah.
Only for Orange Cassidy to skin the cat onto the top of the ladder and attempt to grab the brass ring. By the way, that's a brass ring. To totally go after the concept that he's reaching for, the brass ring. You want to know when I figured that out? Monday night after the show.
Okay.
That's so cute.
I don't know why I didn't
Man.
catch on to that before. Your son asked me,
Yep.
why were they grabbing a Sonic ring?
And I answered his
Sonic
I
ring.
answered his question with, well, there's an expression called grabbing the brass ring.
I
And you
heard-
probably didn't hear me, but
I heard Don say it. Okay, so I have to tell you, I was not
Nope.
for that particular match. I wasn't downstairs for that match because I was putting the kids to bed. So I'm putting the kids to bed, and I hear them yelling about what's going on. And my kids are like, Mommy, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, kids, it's fine. It's the wrestling show. I'm like, oh,
they think
okay.
it's real too.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't quite say that. I just said it's wrestling, Daddy, and Mr. Don. They're getting excited. Oh, okay. And so I knew something incredible happened because they're shouting, and I can hear them upstairs. I come downstairs. I hear Don say this. I hear his son ask the question, and he's like, "Well, there's an expression called grab the brass ring." So, did you not hear him say that? Because I heard him say that.
No, I did not.
No. He was enraptured by wrestling.
He was. He thought it was real because he believes it's real, as we have already discussed. So,
It is
yeah.
real. But again, there are a lot of matches that happened on this, and there's a couple that were kind of duds, but this one really is about just showing off the future, showing off what people have, and then just it's a spot fest. It's
Yeah.
very much,
Yeah.
including the moment when Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs broke a ladder
Snapped a ladder
Yep.
in half.
and
Yep.
used it. Fantastic, just fantastic all around. Wardlow gets the TNT title shot, and I can think of no better deserving
I'm really
former
happy.
bodyguard. So,
Former.
Well, I have to say that what I appreciated about this match is unlike like a TLC match or a Money in the Bank match, even though they're doing moves off of the ladder and onto the floor or off of the ladder and onto another ladder, what I dislike about Money in the Bank matches is they have 8 people or more in that match, and eventually 2 or 3 of them get eliminated because they're jumping off of a 20-foot ladder onto the floor through 3 other ladders, and now they have to figure out if their ribs are still attached.
Yep.
And we had a lot of big moves in this match. There was a ton of stuff going on. I mean, at one time, Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee got thrown off of or knocked off of the stage through tables, but I didn't feel like I felt like everybody still was able to get featured all the way through the match. That's what I'm trying to get to. That's what I really appreciated, was that I felt like they took care of being able to exhibit everyone who was involved in that match throughout the entirety of the match, and I really liked that a lot about that match.
I would agree, and I hope Ricky Starks is okay
Oh
after
my
taking
gosh.
the powerbomb from Wardlow and getting caught by his feet and then hitting his neck on the ladder.
Yeah, he said that he's okay. Like he's come
Ooh.
out and said that he
Ooh.
was fine after that, but
Oh, buddy.
it's all because of Danhausen cursing him is the problem. He did a heck of a job.
Yeah. All right. So the next segment has Tony Schiavone on the ramp signing the contract for Isaiah. Sorry.
He wasn't signing. Tony Schiavone didn't sign a
Tony
contract.
Schiavone was there for the contract signing of Swerve Strickland.
Okay.
What is his first name? I cannot remember. Shane
yeah.
Strickland.
I was going to say it starts with an
I'm gonna
S,
cheat
but I
and look
can't
at my
remember.
phone, 'cause-
That's all right.
Yeah.
Shane doesn't say it on here, which I was really surprised by, but he must be just going by Swerve. So,
Yeah. Whose house?
Swerve's house.
That's right.
So, after that was probably the weakest match of the night, which is saying something. It was the TBS title match between Jade Cargill with Smart Mark Sterling and dressed as a Mortal Kombat star, Jade, versus Tay Conti, who also came out with Anna Jay. And Jade Cargill remains undefeated from this match with Ty.
Not really a surprise.
Not really
It
at
would have
all.
surprised me if Ty would have beaten her.
But
Yeah.
it was still, there were some moments that were kind of rough.
Yeah.
And I know that Jade is 29 matches in, and I think Simon Miller has said this a couple times. She's only 29 matches in.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
she is a star.
The draw for her is the fact that she is, like, physique wise, she is incredible.
Good Lord,
Like,
have mercy.
And she,
That woman
she is
built.
yeah, and
I'm a
I,
girl.
I think that for somebody who is maybe a WWE fan who's looking to get into watching AEW, I think that there are a lot of similarities between Jade and Bianca Belair.
Yes.
Yeah. And then other older wrestlers like Beth Phoenix and stuff like that, where they were powerhouse wrestlers. China, like all of those people who were like really powerhouse women's wrestlers.
Strong
She very
and-
much fits that.
Yeah.
The issue that I think some of us who are a little deeper cut fans, I would say definitely the three of us, I think the problem that sometimes we have with a character like Jade is we also see some of the limitations that you can run into. Not that Jade has yet, but I think that our fear is that eventually that steam runs out.
Right.
And eventually you have to actually show that you have the depth of
Wrestling chops.
right. And her promo skills are incredible.
Yeah.
Her
Oh,
mic
yeah.
skills are incredible,
Yeah.
and her wrestling is getting better, which
Right.
is great.
Absolutely.
Which is great because she's an athlete. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
she's
right.
gonna get better. She's
Yeah.
an athlete, and
Do
so
we know who she works with, or who is kind of working with her, training her, or have we even heard? Yeah,
Brian-
sometimes we heard.
is
Brian
it Brian
Danielson.
Brian Danielson?
Danielson?
Oh, well, then she's absolutely
then she's
gonna
gonna be
get-
fine.
Yeah.
She will be fine
She will be exactly. She'll be fine.
because I'm pretty confident that it was Mark Henry and a couple of other people that recommended her to even
Okay.
get into, because she played basketball, I think for a
so.
long time.
Again.
So just in general,
Right.
like she is an athlete, which is great.
Yeah.
And I I remember us joking about, because when we went to All Out last year, good grief,
Yeah.
every match was incredible, and we didn't have one of those bathroom match moments until the Paul White match, which was
Yeah.
the second to last match of the night.
Right.
And this one was kind of in the middle, and it was definitely a slower match than what I would have expected, especially out of somebody like Ty Conti, who's, when I've seen her in other matches with people who are, I think, at the same level of execution for wrestling that she's at, it moves much faster, especially when she's in the ring. When she's in the ring with, is it Anna Jay? Is her...
Tay Conti.
Yeah,
That's her
Tay
friend,
Conti
yeah.
and Anna Jay, right? When they do their tag team stuff, they move and I think probably because Anna Jay is
Yep.
really, really good in the ring.
Yep.
And Tay Conti has been learning a lot from Anna Jay and probably Sammy Guevara as well, with a lot of their training and stuff like that. And I think that being able to see her on a pay-per-view stage in a big match against Jade, who's a big opponent, they both, at the end, I think they looked good. I think they looked developmentally better than they have, but I think that they're still. I think it was this was definitely, like you said, kind of the lower point of the pay-per-view. Not that it was a bad match at all, but definitely Like, okay, cool. Well, we see where you're at. It is.
So we're going to move on to what is, I'm glad I figured this out because I'm really looking forward to talking about this one. The dog collar match.
Man.
Pitting the Second City Saints CM Punk versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And I will say CM Punk got the win, as a lot of us expected, but we'll talk a little bit more about the ending here in a little bit.
How did he get there?
But two things happened here at the very beginning. Number one, we thought CM Punk was going to come out first when Cult's personality hit. It was really MJF just being a jerk. But then the real kicker was when CM Punk came out. He came out to AFI's Miseria Cantare, which is apparently his old Ring of Honor music. And I'm saying this because I didn't follow him in Ring of Honor. But it was dark and it was awesome. Like, I was on board from the get-go.
Yeah.
And he wore his ring gear. He wore his ROH ring gear.
Well, he wore a version of
it.
Right,
Yes. I understand. I mean, I don't think it was actually the ring gear he wore. That would have been weird. But it was
true.
basically, an homage to it, or basically definitely not his traditional, not his usual Punk trunks or the tights that he's worn.
Right.
Which is
He didn't
cool.
even come out and do clobber in time.
No, he didn't.
That's what threw me off.
Yeah, he didn't
It
do his
wasn't
clobber in time. And
Like, at first, if I agree with Josh, definitely go back and get the replay of this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like most AEW pay-per-views, it was great. It was definitely worth the money that you're going to spend on the replay.
Yeah.
There was so much fog and steam. I was like, is this like a play on an Undertaker entrance? What's happening?
Oh.
Who's going to actually come out? And then what I thought was great was he's coming out, and Josh and I are kind of looking back and forth at each other, and Deb is looking, and we're all trying to figure out what's going on, because I got a chance to see the beginning of the match, and then this is where I had to leave for a little while. So I didn't get to see the conclusion. I have since seen the conclusion of it, which it's incredible, and it's fantastic. And the storytelling behind it is so good.
Yes.
So good.
So good.
But what was so interesting was he comes out, there's no clobbering time. It's just we're looking at each other going, what's happening? And then Excalibur, God bless that man.
Yes. Just
he
brilliant.
starts fanboying as a great commentator should.
Yes.
To say, oh wow, this is Punk's old Ring of Honor. This is his Ring of Honor tribute to to this match and to his career and stuff like that. And so I know that this match, let me rephrase that. I know that Punk's entrance has caught a ton of flack from people who are just going to be haters, and none of them are named, Jamie, so we don't care.
Exactly.
But I think what was really cool was, especially with the acquisition of Ring of Honor, that's kind of where I thought it was coming from, was like kind of a callback to his glory days, and also an honor and homage to who knows what's going to happen with Ring of Honor
Exactly.
being associated with AEW. Like, I thought that was a really, really cool...
It's just a smart move.
Yeah.
Whoever decided to do it, whether it was Punk himself or whether Tony brought it to him and they did it, whatever it was brilliant, because it did two things at the same time. It nodded to his past, where he has spoke with great affection of his time in Ring of Honor and that he really liked his time there. And it points to the future at the same time. So isn't that genius? And then you're in this moment in time when it's like, hey, both directions are pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
It was just great. It was great storytelling with just his ring gear and with that music. It's already good. It's already good.
But now we get into the match itself, and there were things that I've not seen. And I mean, even when Cody and Brody Lee had their dog collar match.
Camera on me. Okay. Don't let your young kids watch this. I am a doctor. It says so on my shirt. Don't let your young kids watch this one. This gets ugly. It's an amazing match. Put the kids to bed first.
Even if that means explaining to your little one why.
Correct. Which we had to do. It's true.
I even went home. and honestly, most of the reason was because I had to pick up my brother.
Well, blame your brother.
But the other reason was it was a pause moment, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is the match we go home. Because honestly, it was like 9:15 9:15, 9:30 when the match started.
Yeah.
And then I also had things I had to go and do.
So true,
Yeah.
but
But
whew,
yeah.
So between uses of the chain for attempting to hang MJF, MJF hitting him on the back, them throwing out a bit of thumbtacks that they got superplexed on and GTS'd on. When it came to the ending, MJF had somehow managed to get loose, and then the ref was hooking him back up and calling for Wardlow. Wardlow comes out and he does the best man gimmick because MJF is asking for his Dynamite Diamond ring. He's like, I can't find it. I can't find it. And then he turns around and he gets a GTS from Punk, only for Wardlow to look at Punk and be like, oh yeah, it was in my other pocket. So he took the ring out and he set it down. Punk went to like, you're going to be done, blah, blah, blah. And then, MJF spit in his face. And he grabbed the diamond ring, punched him in the face, got the win. It was fantastic. They were bloody. It was violent, but it was the best told story in professional wrestling.
it was a mess for a match, but there was no mess in the storytelling. It was terrific. It's the way it should have been. I'm like, this is how you want the end of the story to be between MJF or CM Punk, or at least you want this chapter. The story could continue. I would totally be fine with that. They may not be done with the chapter yet. Maybe we've got a few more pages in the chapter. I don't care. It was told the way it should be. It was violent. It was tough to watch because of the amount of blood that is shed. We joked that apparently that Tony Khan was going to help and be doing blood donations because he knows that the U.S. is, in critical need.
Yeah.
So he just had his wrestlers go out and donate because that's what it looked like. Between that and the other, there's a couple matches that were donating during Revolution.
Yeah.
But
next time you might find a more efficient way to collect that.
Please
but,
and thank you.
The fact that the fact that the canvas looked like an MMA ring
correct. Yeah.
for the rest of the night.
Yeah. Yes, it did.
Definitely tells the tale right there.
There's the shot. I'm sure you can find it. It's got to be out there. Of Punk's face is covered in blood. It's dripping down his face, and he's got his eyes open. He looks crazy. Like I'm like, he looks like he's just lost it. Like where's the rubber room? Get this man a jacket because he looked nuts, which was perfect, right? You want CM Punk to be at that point. You want a crazy CM Punk against MJF. So it was just great. I mean, it was two great wrestlers telling a great story. And I'm sure Punk had a blast, even though I can only imagine how he must have felt the next day. I'm sorry, April. Holy cow.
I thoroughly enjoyed the match. And I look forward to where Wardlow and MJF go with this feud. Yes. So the next match was our AEW Women's World Title match, and I actually really enjoyed this match for what it was. The crowd, you got to be careful with crowd reactions affecting your enjoyment of the match too much, because the fact that the crowd was just dead from the last one really impacted this.
Yeah.
So it was our champ, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
MD. Hello.
Sorry,
I can't show the whole shirt.
I
You
didn't.
didn't. Don didn't do it.
Do it.
Versus the challenger Thunder Rosa, and Dr. Britt Baker did retain, of course, involving some disruptions, distractions, and shenanigans as it may be. But amazingly enough, from that, I think the match suffered, yes, because of the crowd. I know a lot of people really hoping Britt Baker was gonna lose this time, not because Britt has not been a great champion, but it kind of feels like it's time for her to hand off. They did give her a new title belt, which looks really nice, designed by Dan McMahon, belts by Dan. Odd thing, I know, but I follow the belt community, and some, don't tell him. He's an interesting guy. Anyways, but he makes a great belt. So she got to retain, but it looks like Thunder Rosa is going to get another shot inside a steel cage for their St. Patrick's Day special. So,
is that what it's going to be?
St. Patrick's Day Slam.
Yeah, because she beat Layla Hirsch. They were the number 1 and 2 contenders still, and she won in the championship eliminator match. Is that what they call it? That's what they call their number 1 contenders matches, I guess. So she gets a title shot, and it will be inside a steel cage to try and keep the dastardly women out of the match. So, I didn't have anything else thought-wise on this match. Anybody else?
I mean, I agree with you that it felt like it felt lower, and it wasn't because the skill set in the match was lower. It's just I could tell the crowd was tired. This might have been the bathroom break for some people, to be honest. Just because you know what's coming, and you can go to the bathroom. I also wonder if the fact that there were 2 times Thunder Rosa had her pinned, like we're all counting. The ref isn't counting. We're counting in the living room. 1, 2, 3, and then it happened again. I wondered if that might have been a little much. Doing it twice.
Like going to the well a couple of times.
Right. And at that point, you've already done it once, and you do it again. Are you just kind of ignoring your crowd at this point? Especially if the crowd wants Thunder Rosa to win, and you're not giving it to them quite yet. I just wondered if that was maybe not the best thought process for that.
I think that if I was going to build the card any differently than what they did, I probably would have switched the Jade tie match with Britt and Thunder Rosa because that specific reason. Like, I think that there's less hype on the Jade match than there is the Britt Baker match. So you put Britt Baker first so that it builds to that big dog collar match, and then you have that one that's because there wasn't a ton of build for the Ty Conti Jade Cargill versus the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker combination. That's kind of always been that back and forth. Like I remember 6 months ago we were talking about how we were really excited for whenever Thunder Rosa was going to get her chance to take the title. I do think that it's a little bit of the same thing that Deb was talking about, going to the well, because on Rampage she beat Layla Hirsch for the #1 contendership, which I feel like is kind of a little bit of a cop-out because technically she lost her match against the title holder, which
feels a little WWE
should knock her back down the card, but I'm not.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But I've also
if you're gonna give us a good match, why don't you just give us the good match at Revolution?
Well, and if you're gonna give,
why are we doing on St. Patty's Day?
Similar to the sentiment, not by any means at the same degree, but similar to the sentiment I had when they did the women's tag title gauntlet at WrestleMania on night 1,
right?
And then they had Tamina and Natalya win. To then go into night 2 and not give them the titles, to then give them the titles 3 weeks later.
Exactly.
It didn't make any sense. Now, again, like I said, not to that degree, but it's in the same family of just saying, like, well, if you want to put the belt on Thunder Rosa, like if Thunder Rosa goes into the cage and still loses, I think it's justified then.
Yes.
But if you're going to put the belt on Thunder Rosa, it's just a little more, I think it's a little weak sauce to say, well, we're putting it in a cage so that she doesn't have any outside interference. Okay, well, then what was the point in Layla Hirsch losing her #1 contendership when you could have just made that the stipulation to say, well, we're going to do this again without outside interference, and then Layla Hirsch maybe gets to wrestle Thunder Rosa as the new #1 contender.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's
if you're going for the sports feel, which is what Tony Khan's trying to go for, it doesn't follow. It feels more like it feels more like it's contrived as opposed to, Thunder Rosa lost. Now, Britt Baker, it was shenanigans all the way, but she still lost. And so as such, she should be knocked down a bit. Not all the way. She's a fantastic competitor. But then to feel like she has to claw and build her way back up again to go after Britt again, you got to let that cook a little bit longer to believe it, as opposed to you lost, but don't worry, you beat it and you're #1 contender, here you are again. I'm like,
or
what?
if you do an interesting narrative where you have, if Thunder Rosa is supposed to go to the bottom, this is just, while we're on this tangent for a second.
Well, let's follow it. Rabbit trail.
If Thunder Rosa goes down to the bottom or is lower in the standing, maybe she doesn't go down to the bottom. Maybe you put her at 4th.
Right.
And then something mysterious happens to 3rd and can't fulfill the obligation to wrestle Layla Hirsch. And then you're like, well, Thunder Rosa is in 4th. Let's just move her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's some fun, creative ways to do exactly what they did without just doing what they did with what seems like little purpose. But
I think I'm in agreement that she probably. I'm of the opinion she should have won the title at Revolution.
Yeah, it's the bigger stage.
And the other side of that is because there are no, and like spoiler alert, there are no other title changes through the rest of the show. Yeah. I think that the fact that they didn't do this title change now and are going to possibly do it 2 weeks later, again, possibly, they may not do this at all. But I did want to speak a little bit on the order of the final matches, but Deb had a thought.
I had a thought. Where is the St. Patrick's Day show going to be at? Is it going to be near where Thunder Rosa is from?
It's in Texas.
Okay, so maybe that's why. I'm not saying it's a good reason, because I agree with you. Revolution is a bigger stage.
Yeah.
But if they're going to give it to her, maybe she has family that's going to come in, or maybe she's got friends in that area that are going to come in to watch her win.
I think
maybe
that's
Tony
a good
Khan's
sentiment.
Gonna do it.
I think that's a really good sentiment.
I agree. Story-wise, I don't think it flows as cleanly as it could have. But if that's why they're doing it, then I do kind of get that.
Well, okay. So, and here's part of the because I think it's San Antonio where they're doing the show.
All right.
So, a statement about these final matches. So we just had the dog collar match, followed by the AEW Women's World Title match. The next match is Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson, followed by the 6-man of Sting and Darby and Sammy Guevara versus the AHFO with Matt Hardy, Andrade, and Isaiah Cassidy, to then end the match with Hangman versus Adam Cole.
Adam versus Adam.
You know, they got put near the end of the show as a world title match, which is the women's world title match, and then had to be followed. First off, they were preceded by what is probably the best match of the night, to then be followed by 3 absolutely insane matches.
Yeah.
So I don't envy them whatsoever.
No, and that's why I honestly think that card-wise, if they would have put that before the dog collar match, it would have been a better build, because then you still have that downtime with Jade and Ty, which gets everybody hyped up for
get your energy
the
back
next match.
For the next match, yeah, because you need it in the next match. Because, good lord.
Well, the next match is the American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. Just the whole premise behind this match was we should team up. Jon Moxley, I'm not going to team unless we bleed together. So what did they do? They bled together.
Yep.
They bled together.
Blood donation.
And Jon Moxley got the win with the most dangerous move in all sports entertainment.
It wasn't a surprise roll. It wasn't a surprise roll up though.
It wasn't. I don't know.
He had him in a submission hold, and he reversed the submission hold into a pin maneuver that, depending on the camera angle, was a little wonky. But technically, he pinned him.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Most dangerous.
Wasn't? No, get out of here. Get out of here, Simon.
But it was violent. They were bloody. They slapped the bejesus out of each other, as I used earlier. Yes, both chests were just completely lit up. And when John got the surprise victory, Bryan Danielson really didn't like this. And thus, they started to fight again. And then people tried to break them apart. And that didn't work. They just kept fighting. Until what happened, Donald?
Until what I will identify him as of right now, Gentleman William Regal.
Lord Regal.
Lord Regal came out, stopped the two of them. I mean, slapped the taste out of their mouths.
It was hilarious.
First of all, he turns to John. John is trying to charge Bryan Danielson. At one point, they go forehead to forehead, nose to nose. William Regal now has half of John's crimson mask all over his own face.
He's got blood on him.
And he just rears back and slaps the mess out of John. All of a sudden, John, not interested in punching Bryan Danielson any longer. Bryan Danielson, however, smirk on his face. He thinks it's hilarious. And what does one good parent do? smacks the crap out of the other kid
both
too.
did,
I
'cause you are
mean,
both misbehaving.
turned around and just slapped them both.
Beat the tar out of both of you.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh.
And then he
Very
tells
much
them,
enjoyed it.
he tells them to shake hands.
Every parent loved this scene because
Yeah.
every parent knows this scene.
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
I'm gonna smack
Yeah.
both of you. Sit down.
Hopefully not every parent resolves it the same way.
No, hopefully not. But
But-
you know the feeling, right? Deep in your heart of hearts, you know you kind of wish you could do
Yeah.
it this way.
Oh
I'm gonna
my
smack
gosh.
you both, sit you both down. Now sit and hold hands
Yep.
for 10 minutes.
That's it.
And I'll be back.
And so he made them shake hands, and he made them get out of the ring.
It was so
And-
good.
It was brilliant.
It was awesome.
Brilliant.
It was so great.
And that will.
I just wonder if they after they got to the back, and of course they got blood all over them, if they just start laughing at this picture because it was
Yeah.
so hilarious.
Yeah.
But it was perfect. It was
Yeah,
so
it was
good.
so good. It was so good.
So how do we follow that craziness?
More
But-
craziness.
By putting the AHFO of Andrade, Isaiah Cassidy, and Big Money Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara, the TNT champion, Darby Allin, and the 62-year-old Sting.
Because that makes sense.
Remember what I said, 62-year-old, because Darby, Sammy, and Sting do pick up the victory with quite the nice little ending there. Sadly, Darby almost missed the coffin drop, but who cares? Most of them couldn't think about what they were doing anyways because they were all thinking about when Sammy Guevara did a Spanish fly off of the entrance ramp
Through
a table, only to then be preceded by, oh, here, hold my beer from Sting as he jumps off onto Andrade through 4 tables. Again, 62 years old, jumping off through 4 tables.
I think Darby Allin was the only person to not jump through a table.
That's hilarious. Because Darby
But-
would be the one I would have named first. To
Right.
Go through the table.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
That's
he was the only one who
hilarious.
didn't. And he's normally
Matt
the...
didn't, but Matt took the pin at the end.
Oh,
right.
all
But I'm
well,
saying,
fair.
like, just in general, like, of their team is what I meant. Sorry. Of their 3-man tag team, the one who everyone would have expected to be going through multiple tables
Didn't.
did not.
Right.
No.
I really enjoyed watching Darby attempt to do the Scorpion Death Drop, but because he's a little shorter than Matt,
Yeah.
couldn't quite get him over.
Yeah.
But he still put him through that chair
Yeah.
before he
Oh, yeah.
did the coffin
That
drop.
did
but
look good.
Matt was wiggling around like a centipede.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
and
that's true.
Darby almost he basically landed a
was a-
reverse flying headbutt is what he did. And honestly, it's because of Matt. Because Matt was writhing in pain, and he decided to go right when he should have gone left, and Darby almost completely missed him. So
That's what you get for writhing in pain in the wrong direction.
writhe in
gentlemen.
the right-
Priorities.
writhe.
But-
Everybody knows you writhe to the
That's
left.
right. I did send Josh a meme. I sent Josh the meme from Frozen.
Writhe to the left.
Right
to the right.
Oh my goodness! Now everybody clap your hands.
That's
anyway,
right. That's right.
I did send Josh a meme from Frozen where Olaf looks over at Anna and goes, "He's crazy."
Yeah.
Because that's Sting. You're crazy. I love you. You're crazy. The doctor in me is terrified of this man.
Okay. So now we've come to our main event. The champion, the AEW World Champion.
La Champion. Oh wait, no.
Nope, not that
Yeah,
one.
different.
He was
champion.
earlier.
Different-
in
different
The
champion.
Hangman, Adam Page, with his cowboy shib, versus Adam Cole, who entered wearing his Halo garb, which was
The best gear ever.
I had to give him his Halo moment.
Ever.
And so Hangman Page does end up retaining here with an excellent buckshot lariat. At some point, he also
Yeah.
lowered the boom on Adam. But what was just amazing about this, the chemistry these guys had, the story they were telling. You know, it up to this point, I've heard people question, is Adam Page really that strong of a champion? Adam Page at this point has gone to a 60-minute draw with Bryan Danielson. He has beaten Bryan Danielson. He has gone to a Texas death match with Lance Archer, former IWGP United States champion, and has now beaten Adam Cole, former Ring of Honor and NXT champion. If he's not legitimate in your eyes now, you need to maybe get a new prescription.
Well, and you're missing, in my opinion, next to the two. Now, first of all, he wrestled Bryan Danielson twice for an accumulative 2.5 hours.
It wasn't 2.5. It was 60-minute draw for the first
40
one,
minutes.
right? And then 40.
Oh, was it 40?
Yeah.
Okay,
About
but
100
still.
minutes total.
Still, over an hour and a half with Bryan
With
Danielson.
Bryan Danielson. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
don't forget, he beat Kenny Omega for the title.
Yeah, thank you. He beat Omega.
Like, he beat Kenny Omega.
Arguably the two greatest wrestlers, like wrestlers. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about character. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about that. I'm saying wrestlers.
Yep.
Omega and Danielson.
And
I'm pretty
that's it.
sure should be on the Mount Rushmore
Yep.
of current right now.
Yep.
He beat them both.
Yep.
What is your problem?
My apologies, Hangman, if you are watching this as viewer number 9 or 10. You did beat Kenny Omega.
Yes.
And I am sorry.
We'll call him out on it. Don't you worry, Adam.
No,
We'll
it's-
tell him.
no,
We'll tell
I
it
wasn't,
straight.
I wasn't trying to call you out. I was just trying to say, like, the fact
By
is,
the way,
not only has he beaten, but he also started that journey as champion against who is arguably the greatest professional wrestler and
I felt
entertainer in the world.
attacked.
No, don't feel attacked.
Okay.
It wasn't targeted
we're
at
trying
you.
to
It
guide
was just-
you back into the
Right.
path of
It was-
of true wrestling understanding.
Right. It was an area of effect. You're just in the splash damage area.
That's fair, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
overall, like, I think, I think this was an excellent pay-per-view. Like, we don't do star ratings or thumbs up or anything just as of yet. There were a couple things that could have maybe gone a little bit better, but, from top to bottom, every story was sold well. Every match was handled well for the most part. No real screwy finishes except for in the buy-in where Layla Hirsch used a turnbuckle to hit Chris Statlander. And yeah, we had our distractions for Britt Baker, but that's what Britt Baker does.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think we're going to continue to see more of that. And while we've got these last few minutes, I want to kind of talk a little bit about Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely a great post pay-per-view Dynamite. Like, in general,
Absolutely.
you always watch the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania. This is very much that same effect.
Well, and I think what they were setting up here were a couple of things. Between the Jericho heel turn,
Yep.
now forming the Jericho Appreciation Society with 2.0 Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager. The TNT title match, which was actually the main event of having Scorpio Sky, who's been undefeated since March of 2021, beat Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship, and having Paige Van Zant sign her AEW contract, now joining and will probably be fighting Tay Conti relatively soon. Let's see, what else was... Swerve was on there. William Regal, if you've not seen the promo that he put out, I must highly recommend you go look that up. We're super fan of that. But the huge news that came out of this was the debut of Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
As Matt Hardy gets kicked out of the AHFO. And Jeff Hardy, not only does Jeff Hardy show up, he shows up to the Hardys theme music.
Yep.
How did he get that? How did Tony Khan get that? How'd you do that? Anyway, because Tony Khan watches, so I'm trying to ask him.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm so excited because we have the opportunity for multiple rematches between Jericho and Eddie Kingston, Adam Cole and Adam Page, who are going to set up a 6-man next week, which is probably going to be Adam Cole. Well, he's going to be Adam Cole and Red Dragon versus Adam Page and the Jurassic Express.
Yeah.
We are going to probably see Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti take on Scorpio Sky and Paige Van Zant, which is going to be very interesting. But AEW is actually exploring rematches. Heck, Tully Blanchard got fired from FTR.
I hadn't heard that one.
Wardlow kicked MJF to the curb.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
well, we'll see how that goes.
Well, more story.
Well,
More
yeah,
story.
because that on next week's show is
Yeah.
Scorpio Sky and Wardlow for the TNT title.
That's why I'm saying
Yeah.
there's a storm a brewing.
That's gonna be
And it
something.
looks like a Burberry scarf is all I'm
yeah,
saying.
absolutely.
That's
So,
all I'm saying.
I'm not trying to take away from how great Dynamite was, and really
Yeah.
look it up. If you've got TNT, if you've got Fight, Fight Plus or AEW Plus internationally, or however you get it, Dynamite was worth watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so was AEW Revolution.
Oh my
Go
gosh,
check it
yeah.
out on Bleacher Report, which
It was so good.
we were able to actually pause the dog collar match and resume So thumbs up to whatever
Thank you so
they figured
much.
out. And I just thoroughly enjoyed AEW this week. And there's more to come, especially we're on the road to WrestleMania now. Revolution has stopped. We know the Ring of Honor is firing back up. The Supercard of Honor is happening over WrestleMania weekend, as well as Impact is doing a multiverse of something special on Friday night.
Please tell me something multiverse of madness.
It's not, but it's Impact and New Japan are putting on a show together.
Oh, that's gonna be good. I mean, that should be good.
Saturday, it's the multiverse of destroyers and pile drivers.
Well,
on
top of all this, Dolph Ziggler is the NXT champion.
Oh, I know.
That's all this conversation in itself. Yeah, conversation in itself. They're setting up an 11 a.m. show where they're selling the tickets to, I think, the Dallas Mavericks Arena for NXT.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting. There's so much great stuff happening in wrestling right now. I'm so excited. And it started with the Rumble. But man, Revolution right in the middle of this. Yes, the Elimination Chamber happened, whatever.
It wasn't horrible,
no,
but it just wasn't.
It wasn't horrible, but it also was in Saudi. But Revolution happened, so I'm all pumped up. And now WrestleMania is just a few weeks away. I'm super excited.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else? And or a 3 count.
I do have a 3 count.
Anything else?
Well, I would say just a couple of plugs, maybe. If you're in the Indy area, make sure if you have the availability, try and get your day passes for Squared Circle Expo. That's coming up in April. It's Easter weekend. Is that correct?
That is correct.
The Friday and Saturday of Easter weekend. The only thing they have available is day passes. All of the main event passes and the entire Saturday night live show is sold out.
April 15th and April 16th,
That's right,
2022.
At the Wyndham West Hotel. We went last year for their first year. They tried to do it in 2020, and, well, we know what happened then.
The year that shall not be named.
They did, I thought, an incredibly successful job last year with their very first convention, and it was a great turnout. They have half of the AEW roster that's going to be there, and then a bunch of other people that are worth going and seeing. The Steiner brothers are going to be there. DX is going to be there. Ruby is going to be there. Sammy and Ty Conti.
Yeah.
Did I see? I didn't see Sammy on the list. I saw
he's on the poster.
That's great.
Yeah.
I missed that. I know
Ricky,
Jay's going to be there.
Ricky Steamboat is going to be there. I mean, I honestly cannot name all of the people that are going to be there because the people, and they keep revealing new people.
And if you can't make, here's a little bit of a plug. If you didn't get your main event pass and you didn't get your VIP, that's okay. If you're going to be in town for the Squared Circle Expo, there is also a wrestling event for Wrestling Theology Fellowship.
Oh, yes.
At Mercy Road Church out in Fortville. If you're looking for a show, it's like $15 for front row or $10 or $12 for general admission. If you couldn't make the Squared Circle Expo show, come to the expo and then go see Wrestling Theology Fellowship.
Is that also on Saturday night?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
There's way too much going on.
Oh no, I take that back. I'm sorry. I'm so wrong. That is actually March 12th. That's actually this Saturday. So I'm hoping I get this up before then because that's the Warrior Wrestling weekend. Warrior Wrestling is March 12th, and Wrestling Theology Fellowship is March 12th.
Okay.
My apologies.
No, it's okay.
I'm solely wrong, but that's okay.
He didn't mean to be a liar.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I can't keep all the dates straight sometimes.
It's all right. There's a lot of wrestling going on.
A lot of wrestling,
which is incredible because I don't know how you guys feel about this point, but I feel like over the last 5 years, I would say over the last 5 years, I feel like, and maybe it's just because my awareness of it has grown, but I feel like there are so many more opportunities to go and see professional wrestling in so many different places, whether it be a really small indie show in front of 40 people or like a 300-person show. I know at least in Indianapolis, like we've got White River Wrestling, we've got Wrestling Theology Fellowship, we've got a ton of like little bitty places to go and see like a Friday night show and stuff like that. But I just feel like maybe it's because I'm more aware of it now. But it just seems like there are so many wrestling events going on like every month, maybe every 2 weeks. if you want to watch wrestling and you live in the state of Indiana, you can find it. It's everywhere. I mean, it may be an obscure 4-H hall in, Jefferson County or something like that, but you can find it.
Yep.
It's everywhere. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm really being a wrestling fan right now. Sometimes can be difficult because of business decisions that certain companies make, whether it's WWE or AEW, doesn't really matter, or Ring of Honor, anybody. Because of business decisions that they make, we may not agree with it, but I can honestly say I don't think there's been a better time to be a fan of wrestling than right now, because it's just everywhere, and there's just tons of great talent. So, but yeah, my plug was for Squared Circle Expo. If we can get this up, if we don't get it up before the show, just check out Warrior Wrestling. They're doing shows all over Indiana, Illinois, Ohio. Wrestling Theology Fellowship does a show, I think, once a month in Fortville or in, Indianapolis, or I think they've done one in Fort Wayne before, but I don't remember. There's like 2 or 3 different locations that they've done shows.
Yeah. Well, and if you missed the show, if you happen to miss the show, they also have a $2.99 a month subscription service where they try to record all the shows and put it up for you to watch them later. So.
And it's cool because it's mostly local people.
Yeah.
And the money that they use and raise goes to their program, which is really cool. There's no more pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania.
No, there's not.
WrestleMania is in what, 3 weeks? 2 weeks? It's the beginning of April.
Almost 4.
4 weeks. Okay. Yeah, beginning of April.
No, it's the 2nd and 3rd. Yeah, you're right.
It's,
man.
Yeah, it's real close.
Okay.
It's real close.
3 weeks from this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
23 days.
Craziness.
And now you guys know when we recorded it. If
That's
you do
right.
Your math.
That's right. It's March.
Yeah.
March. Yeah, we recorded it through all of March.
It's
whole
March.
thing, all of March. Just
the once of March.
the ones of March. The tides of March were
It's in
taken.
It's in a few days.
By I don't even know what he's talking about.
All right.
The Ides of March?
The Ides of March is in a few days.
Okay. Rabbit Trail.
It's the 15th. All right. I have a 3 count.
Yay.
You guys ready?
Yes.
Ready for a 3 count? All right. Here we go. Jericho's Appreciation Society has redefined the jazz hand. 1. First Punk steals John's Summer of Cena, and now he's the new leader of the Chain Gang. 2. And finally, it's all still real to us. 3. Thank you guys so much for joining us on episode number 9 of The Stable. We love you all, and we will check you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Deuces.